Man, it's good to be back. I wonder what I should do for my next video. Oh right, that did come out. Let's hope I don't end up pissing off half my viewer base. Again. Holy shit. I did not intend for this video to take so long to get out. But I guess that's what happens when you start a new job that robs you of all your previous free time. Ah well, if Stink Bentley could get away with only releasing one video a year, then I guess it's not that big a deal. Besides, it's not like I'm making money off this thing anyways. Anyways, let's wrap up this sort of trilogy of reboots with Toei's latest reimagining of the original Bug Boy, Shin Kamen Rider. Not to be confused with Shin Ultraman or Shin Godzilla, even though those are all made by the same director. We open with two figures on a motorcycle being chased by a pair of unmarked trucks. As they resist the urge to fire up some Crush 40, the two are driven off the road, with one of the figures being quickly surrounded by a squad of goons. Before she can get trumped, however, a certain masked rider makes his debut and beats the fuck out of them. I'll admit the brutality of this opening scene did catch me off guard. While this film isn't nearly as gory as Black Sun or Amazon's, they did raise the violence up a notch compared to the previous reboot films. I'll go ahead and comment on Ichigo and Nigo's suit designs now, because frankly there's not a whole lot to say. And yeah, Nigo does appear in the movie because, come on, of course he does. While the first and the next went for a more modernized look for their suit designs, Shin takes the if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach, and more or less just recreated the original look with a darker color scheme and maybe some minor changes to detail. Though they did get this black trench coat that the riders wear off and on, and I gotta say, it complements the look well. Anyways, after caving in some skulls, our heroes retreat to a nearby building where this version of Takeshi Hongo attempts to cope with being turned into a mutant killing machine, and we get this cool visual of what he looks like under the suit while transformed. After taking in the trauma of committing manslaughter, Hongo's college professor appears to draw some exposition. In this retelling, we learn that instead of being founded by robo-Nazis, this iteration of Shocker was created by a rogue AI that was meant to bring happiness to humanity, and decided the best way to do so was making a fucking cult of genetically modified serial killers. If only these mad scientists just watched Terminator beforehand, it saved everyone a lot of trouble. The professor reveals that he's actually one of Shocker's members, but realizing how fucked up the organization was, he arranged for Hongo to become the Grasshopper hybrid since he believed he would put the power to good use. Almost immediately after, the prof gets off by the Spider hybrid and dukes it out with our bug lad. Take a wild guess who ends up winning. After that scuffle, Hongo and his companion Ruriko meet up with a pair of agents who work for the one organization that's potentially just as evil as Shocker, the government. Using their intel, Red and Ruriko go after Japanese Skynet's top members one by one, Kill Bill style. I'm glancing over these fights because they don't really add that much to the plot other than emphasizing just how twisted Shocker's followers are, that and making excuses for more fight scenes, which overall I think are fine. There are a couple scenes with a tad more CGI than I'd preferred, but other than that, I found the action enjoyable enough. Really, the only scene I had a problem with was the Scorpion hybrid, who just gets gunned down by a bunch of dudes. What's even the point of having a superhero story if you can just shoot the bad guys to death? Japan doesn't need Kamen Rider, just call the fucking Punisher. Anyways, after our run-in with the Bee hybrid, Ruriko gives us her backstory. She's actually not human, but some kind of sentient biocomputer created by Shocker, who can transfer data with her mind, and like the professor, deserted after realizing just how fucked they are, and made a deal with the Japanese government to take them down. I'd make a joke on how only a robot would think trusting a government agency is a good idea, but frankly that'd be low-hanging fruit. After the brief interlude, KR takes down the Bee hybrid and the two move on to the Butterfly hybrid, who is also Ruriko's sort of brother. But since the dude is too busy creating the metaverse or whatever, Nigo just randomly appears from behind his chair and fights Ichigo instead. No, I'm not kidding, he just literally pops up from behind the chair. Nigo ends up winning, but Cortana is able to reverse his mind control just in time to get shanked by the Chameleon hybrid, who promptly gets his ass beat by Nigo. She ultimately dies, but is able to transfer her consciousness into Ichigo's helmet, because that's something she can do apparently. After licking their wounds, the Bug Bros team up to take out the Butterfly Man before he can trap all of Japan into the infinite Tsukiyomi, or something. And after dealing with the CGI patrol, Beautifly finally gets off his ass and reveals himself as Kamen Rider Zero. Not gonna lie, his costume is pretty cool. probably my favorite in the movie. At first, he's able to fight the Bug Boys with ease, but with the superpower of teamwork and a couple sets of titanium balls, they're able to take him down. Zero dies, but Ichigo passes shortly after from his wounds. Nigo, now in his proper color scheme, continues to work with agents to battle Shocker wherever they might appear and rides off into the sunset. Shin Kamen Rider is okay. It's not a bad reboot by any means, but it's also not anything special. If you've already seen this film, you might have noticed I skipped over a ton of details, because most of them don't really matter. I mean, do I really need to talk about the tuxedo robot whose entire reason for existence is to stand around and just watch the plot unfold? It's clear the writers had some interesting ideas, but none of them really impact the plot or world building in any meaningful way. Changing Shocker to an AI as opposed to Japanese Hydra ultimately affects nothing because its members are just as cartoonishly evil as their previous incarnations, so it just makes me wonder why they even bothered. Ichigo's death didn't bother me the same way Black Sun's did, because I do feel he was a bit more dignified this time around, plus the person succeeding him already proved he was worthy of the mantle, so that helps a lot too. Though it is kind of silly how his body just kind of melts into a pile of bubbles. I mean, yeah, that's all the Shocker hybrids, but it's still kind of weird. The acting is fine, the camera work is fine, everything in this movie is just fine. I don't know if people expected me to praise this film or destroy it, but honestly, I'm so middle of the road I'll probably forget about it as soon as this video is uploaded. Watch it if you want, but there's also no harm in skipping it. Hopefully that new Godzilla movie will give me more to talk about.
You gotta stand up when you're